Hello world, this is LockpickingDev. Today I'm going to do a review on the Covert Instruments Echelon pick set. It is a great pick set for its price point, and I've definitely been picking with it for a little bit, and I do enjoy it. It's got some noticeable profiles in it, and it also has some different stuff in it that you don't normally see in just a standard offered pick set. Usually they're separate and offset. So my first feedback on this, it is a good mix of tools. I really enjoy the mix of tools offered in this pick set. And I mean not just the picks, but the other tools involved as well. And to start off with a good mix of tools, and the first feedback that I'll start with are the turning tools. I enjoy that they have the flat bars here at the bottom, and I also enjoy that it comes with the ergo combs right here as well. Or sorry, not the combs, the ergo turners as well. Here are the top of the keyway pry bar style turners. Honestly, not a whole lot to say about them. They work great. It comes in 25 thousandths, 32, 40, and 50 thousandths thicknesses. So you got plenty to choose from to fit in your keyways there. The short side is a perfect length. The long side, I don't know how often you all use the long side, but it is a great length to fit in those recessed keyways. I have used it occasionally on, I think maybe once or twice on some of those weatherproof cover locks. I'm not often working on doors myself. To give you an idea of the length of these going this way, here is over here a standard Old Sparrows one. Actually, I got this years ago, so I'll give you an idea of that. And then over here is one of Law Lock Tools long pry bars. So these ones are the really long ones they offer. So that'll give you an idea of the length of them. Some people find these too long and these to be about perfect. For me, I like the length of these, but these are perfect length as well. I haven't run into a time where this length hasn't been good enough for me. Let's talk about the ergo turners. So here they are. They are a bent turner. That way when you put it in the keyway, it kind of goes with your grip a little bit more to be a little bit more ergonomic. They offer a 32 thousandths, a 40 thousandths, and a 50 thousandths. And my feedback on these is I just like that they're offered in the kit. I personally don't use ergos a whole lot, and this is why. Because whenever I'm using it in a lock here, when I'm holding the lock, it feels comfortable to have it flat against my hand like that. So flat against my hand like that and have my finger extended out like that. So typically I am enjoying using one of these flat bar style types of turners right here, because it kind of fits my grip a little bit more, because you want your finger more outstretched when you're picking and not bent and gripping anything. Because when you bend it, you add more muscle and it creates more difficulty while picking. You always want to avoid adding more muscle to any of your fingers, hands, arms, or anything while you're picking. So I typically enjoy this turner. And when I'm using an ergo turner like this, you can see it doesn't quite fit the way I like to hold it, so I have to move the lock a little bit more like that. And it's just at a little bit more of a weird angle, so I just don't like the way I'm holding it like that, and I have to kind of bend my finger down more, which means I'm adding muscle to pick it. And I kind of have to keep that muscle down on it, or that pressure down on it to keep it in, whereas the other one, my hand just kind of naturally rests on it and it holds it in nicely. So this isn't bad or negative feedback on these ergo turners at all. It's just my experience so far with what I've been picking using the ergo turners. I've heard great feedback from others. There are other people that swear by them and love them. Just for me, ergo turners are just not my style. What I do enjoy about these ergo turners, though, is that they're all single-ended, so they fit in cases nicely. So if these were not single-ended, these would just be a real pain in the butt to fit in your cases, because those other double-ended style turner tools, like these ones right here, can be a real pain in your case because they have the other end, which kind of prevents it from slipping in the pockets real nice. So I like that these are single-ended. I also like that with the case that's actually offered with the Echelon pick set here, I enjoy that if you take these, you group them all together right here, they can all fit nicely in the side pocket right there. That little crevice, that folding crevice right there. So that's something really cool that they did with the pouch here, is they gave the pouch some extra space to hold more stuff on the inside by adding this little crevice on the side right here. So that way it can expand the pouch a little bit, so when you fold it up, and in doing so, it created small little pouches to allow these single-sided turners or other single-sided turners that you may choose that are offered out there to fit into these side pockets. And because it has the expansion here, when you fold it up, you can see it holds everything nicely. It expands nicely to accommodate for the extra stuff that you put in there. Now let's talk about the pick profiles. Of all of them in front of you, you can see that the thicknesses are engraved on 4 of them, whereas the double peak and the gentle reach over here do not have their thickness engraved on them. So these are 20 thousandths here, and then our double peak and our gentle reach are 25 thousandths. Now I'm actually kind of cool with that thickness. First, I thought it was weird that it was mixed up like that, but I'm actually kind of cool with it. The reason being, one, 20 thousandths rakes, they're good. They can fit in a lot of things, but if you use a rake over time, you're going to use the hell out of it. You're going to bend that rake over time. So it's nice to have a 25 thousandths one available as well, so you can use that and wear that one down. The 25 thousandths reach right here, it's a smaller hook profile, so even those 25 thousandths, it'll still fit in a lot of keyways, which is nice. However, that thickness can be a detriment, especially on more curvy keyways. My one distaste about it is I'm not a fan of the double peak, so even though it's nice to have that thicker rake there, the one that will be just a little bit stronger, there hasn't been a time in my lockpicking career when a double peak opens something that a tri-peak, a quad, or a quint rake hasn't opened. So this is a fine rake if you're a fan of the double peak. I'm just not a fan of it being in the kit. It'd be nice if there's something else in the kit, like I'd agree with Locknoob, a higher hook here. Another hook to go with the single pin picking aspect of the kit here. But it is a good double peak if that's your thing. Now let's talk about the rakes. We already talked about the double hump rake. Let's talk about the quad and the quint rake now. One thing that sticks out with these is the sizing between the two. And you can see that the quad is actually just a little bit bigger than the quint rake here. It's just a little bit taller. The humps on it are just a little bit bigger. The reason for that being, and I had to talk with Christina Palmer to make sure I had, kind of an understanding why these are the way they are, is because most locks, almost all locks have about a 1/2 inch, a 0.5 inch plug, or a 0.4 inch plug, or a near metric equivalent. So that's about a 20% difference in the sizing there. So that's the same difference between the sizing here. The quad over here is just a little bit bigger on the humps, 20% bigger than the quint rake over here. So you'd use the quad on more bigger locks, and you'd use the quint on more smaller locks. Again, if one's not working, you can always try the other because they're rakes, and both perform really well. I have both of them in all of my kits. Just all of my kits, because I love the quint rake. I get most everything open with my quint rake right here, especially master locks. I don't single pin pick master locks. I quint rake them open every time. And if this doesn't work, I always pull out this rake to try it next. And as I've already said, I rarely use the double rake. I have one double peak rake in my entire kit, and it's this one right here, and it's a custom one I made years ago, and I don't use it. So again, the double peak there is fine. I just don't use it myself. It'd be nice if I had another hook to go with it. I want to demonstrate these quint rakes on master locks. These are my favorite rakes. Like I said, I rake open all master locks with them. I do not single pin pick them. So here's a master 141D. Usually I do a combination of sticking it in and doing a rocking method. There we go. We got her open. Over here we have a master number 3. Same thing with this one. It's mainly a rocking method for me. There we go. We have her open. Like I said, I love these quint rakes for master locks. Overall, it's a good selection of hooks. We do have the reach, the short flat, and then the medium round hooks there in 20, 20, and 25 thousandths thicknesses there. I'm going to give a demonstration of each. I'd like to start off with the reach hook itself. So this is an ABUS lock. Not always the most straight keyways, but this one's a little open than most. Whatever little curviness and warding is inside this lock won't be too big of a deal though, because of the shallowness of the profile. Though the profile is 25 thousandths, which does make a difference. So I got 1, 2, and 4, I believe. There's 5. 3. That's a false set. 1. 4. And there's our open right now. So that was the reach profile right there. Works pretty well for a short hook. You really don't need at 20 thousandths. 20 thousandths would be nice, but 25 thousandths works just as well because it's so short that it will still fit in most profiles. Now let's show the short flat hook on this ABS Titanium 64 Ti. What I like about the short flat hook and the round medium hook is they're both 20 thousandths, so they can fit in the keyways nicely. When you combine that with the gentle reach, which is 25 thousandths, the gentle reach is such a short profile that it can fit in most keyways anyway. So that means that the hooks in the set generally can reach and get into most keyways. They will fit into most of what you're working for, which is super nice and convenient. Let's see, almost got our open here. Which one are we missing? Is it pin 1 here? Feels like it might be. There we go. Yep, pin 1. So yeah, I really like these 20 thousandths because it makes these curvy keyways a lot easier to work with. Alright, let's show how the medium round hook works on an American lock. And it's 20 thousandths, so I'm actually able to lever off the bottom of the keyway like this, which is super, super helpful. Back 5, 4, 2, 1. Five. And false set. I'm not feeling, there we go, 2. See, not feeling the counter rotation anywhere. Four. There's go. Oop, there's our open. Lost our turning tool right at the very end there. So you can see how with the medium round hook you can just lever off the keyway. And I want to show you that the whole time I was levering off the bottom of the keyway, I got that really high bidding up at front and then pin 1 and 2 as well. So that's really, really nice. So that's one thing I really like about having these 20 thousandths picks, especially in American style keyways that are wide open. Let's talk about the Dimple rake included in the kit. It is definitely way different than the Dimple rake that I'm used to seeing in these really cheap kits. And honestly, for a long time, I didn't know that this was a Dimple rake in those really cheap, Secure Pro kits. I never knew that, but that's what these are. So it's really interesting to see one that kind of actually looked like, I guess, what I would picture like a Dimple rake. But one thing to point out about the CI Dimple rake is the bumps are smaller in width and smaller in height. So you can see that the waves span out across the cheap one over here. They go totally across the entire pick. The downfall is that can actually hinder you entering certain keyways because these waves are spanning across multiple sections of warding. So the width of these bumps being more closer together actually helps you stay in avoid warding. So I also mentioned that the bumps are kind of not so tall. So if we compare the two rakes right here, you can see that the really cheap one at top there has some pretty decent waves to it, and the bumps in the bottom are maybe, I'm not sure how to compare, but they're not quite as big as that. So one thing that can impact is if you have like a high-low bidding. However, I will show and demonstrate picking a lock with somewhat of a high-low bidding. So there are reports of, say, Lock Noob, he raked many Dimple locks with these. I believe he has a lot more than me. I'm going to trust his word on that. And he didn't have a lot of luck on it. However, one of the few Dimple locks that I have, it does have some aggressive bidding, and it does work. Now let's demonstrate the Dimple rake on this Berg Vokter Boscha. This is, oh, there we go, open. And the reason why I opened so quick, I want to show you the bidding of it, but this pick is so thin that you can actually angle it up and down. And with this particular lock right here, that's what you have to do. You have to angle it down a little bit as you're raking it. Pulse that tension there. There we go, get it lined up, make sure, there we go. And there's our open. The reason being is because this actually has decent bidding to it. So you can see pin number 1 right there, very low, followed by 3 very high pins. So when I angled it down like that, it was able to avoid overlifting that pin while bouncing the other pins up into their positions right here. So you can see it's not quite high, low, but it does have one high, or have one low followed by several highs, and it did work out for that. Another unique offering of this kit is the tubular turning tool and the tubular pick. So right here is the turning tool, and you can see that on the top right there is bigger for bigger locks. Right here is smaller for smaller locks. The pick right here is flat on the very tip of it because when you're pushing down those pins, they're flat so that it rests nicely on top of those pins, which is better than using a normal pick, which is usually rounded or bent in some way in the top. So this one's built for picking tubular pins. And the way that this turning tool works, here's our lock. So we take the flat portion of the turning tool and we stick it in the bottom hole right there, and the curved portion goes around the outside like that, and we add our pressure like that, and we go around and we pick our lock like that. You can see how it works nicely and stays in there, and I'm holding it kind of like a normal lock and it's staying in there. I'm adding good pressure. I really like these turning tools. I keep one in every kit because surprisingly, believe it or not, a lot of people ask about tubular locks, and occasionally you will run into one. So it's really nice to have a tubular turning tool and a tubular pick in a kit to carry around with you as well. I prefer these tubular turning tools to using these full tubular picks. The reason being it's a small, compact, and this will fit more keyways as opposed to this thing right here. This is Covert Instruments tubular pick right here in decoder. It works really well. It has to fit a keyway perfectly though, because it is a specific shape on the end of it, it's a specific size diameter in it, so it has to fit the lock that you want it to work on. They work really well. You can actually decode it. It's a lot easier. It's a lot more controlled to use this. However, again, they're just big and bulky, whereas this is small, compact, and this notch hooks onto the lock and goes around the side, which gives you probably more keyways that this will work with as opposed to using this. Then it also comes with this RFID card right here. So it's an RFID card that you can actually duplicate RFID credentials to it. RFID type stuff is like badge in, badge out types of systems. If that's not something that you're into, you can also use this RFID card to clone keys. So you can actually take your key, let's get one here, hold it up to the white card like this, zoom in, take a picture of it, and then hold up that key to a grid that measures out the depths, and you can actually get the bidding of the key that way. So this is actually useful in the sense that you can copy the, help get a picture of the key and copy the bidding of the key that way. So that's what else you can use the card for if you're not in RFID type of stuff. I'm looking to get into it and learn a lot about RFID, so I will find use to that in the future. If all else fails, you can keep some business cards or some stickers or something like there. But yeah, the case overall, really nice case, and the magnet holds up really well. It does stick to things, and let me cut and show you how well the magnet works. So I wanted to show how good the magnet is on the case, and the magnet is located in this flap up here. You can actually very faintly see there's a circle outline right there. Very faintly see it, and the other one's right there. You can very faintly see the magnet right there, and they are strong for how thin they are for little neodymium magnets. I'm supposing is what that is. It's strong. It's because there are wider magnets there, so they are pretty strong like that. You can see I'm literally this is a solid steel plate that I just got from a factory to stick this thing to. And I want to show also how strong it is. This steel plate has a little yoga mat glued underneath it. You can see it's pretty squashed down, but there's a yoga mat right there on the steel plate. And even with that, when I take this and throw it at it, it sticks really well. And I'm throwing it at it, and it's completely full. In fact, it's more than full. I have my three combs in there as well. Actually, I'm missing my rake. I have it out at the moment. But yeah, I have my 3 combs in there as well. So it is still more than full. This magnet, these little magnets, just these little 2 magnets in there, are really good, and they stick to stuff really well. The trifold pouch itself is very nice and spacious. You can see that I've added a whole bunch of my own extra stuffs to the kit to make it a little bit more everyday carry for me, because that's kind of what this kit seems to be, built to kind of be an everyday carry for what you might encounter, you know, the random types of locks you might encounter out and about. And so what I added to it, you can see I added a McNally pick back here. I've got the McTickler, the short with the divot in it. I added the McNally bottom, the keyway turning tools. I added my own top, the keyway turning tools up here, windshield wiper blade style. The cheap windshield wiper blade with the twist in them, I added right there, because I always find that sometimes that works, sometimes the 40 thousandths bottom doesn't. I also added comb picks up here. One thing I actually do, though, I have this completely stuffed with the ergos and the double hump, is I actually take the double hump and the ergos out just because it's extra space. But honestly, I think I might leave the double hump in now because it has plenty of room right there. There's no reason to take it out. The ergos, I mentioned I don't use them that often, so it's hit and miss with me. I usually take it out, but you can leave it in, and I can show you that even with them in, you have a decent fold. And it still holds together real nicely. It's not going to come apart. It works still really well with it being stuffed that much open. Because I don't use them, it's nicer for me just to have it ever so slightly, just a little bit tighter like that. But the case is super nice. It's got the Velcro on the outside right here. The magnet holds up really well. As you can see, it does. Let me zoom out just a little bit there. You can see it does fold really, really nicely together. Like that. It is a really good case. I like that it also it comes with this extra little pouch up there. Make room with all the extra space that you can. So final thoughts. I see this as kind of a great everyday carry kit. It has all the rakes that you need in it. It has hooks that you need. It has a dimple rake so you can attack dimple locks if you come across them. And it has a tubular pick, which is really nice as well. It has multiple top of the keyway turning tools in different thicknesses as well as the ergo ones, and it's built to really be expanded upon. I think that's what they did here, is they built this set in order to expand upon it, because you got several extra spots for pockets in here, room to put stuff in here, so you can add other things, kind of like they put on their website, the Genesis set in here, or like I do, add your combs in here as well to make it even more, everyday carry for stuff you come across there. The Genesis set, being added to it would be nice, because then you have bottom of the keyway turners. So my feedback with this set is, yeah, it doesn't have bottom of the keyway turners. So it kind of makes this dimple rake hard to use with top of the keyway turning tools. So having a bottom of the keyway turner to be able to easily use the dimple rake better would be nice. The tubular pick or tubular turning tool over here, it's a little hard at times to get out. There we go. You see it kind of got caught right there. These little sharp edges can get caught on the pockets. So it's something to watch out for. I'm not sure that's something that they can really do to fix it, but that's something you can see. Yeah, it kind of happens at times. So I'm trying to figure out a way around that. Maybe put like a little wrapping, a 3D printed wrapping around it while it's in the case or something. I don't know. But other than that, I'm also not a fan of the double hump rake right here. That is that and not having a bottom of the keyway turning tool is my biggest gripe. I'm just not a fan of the double hump rake. Again, there's not a time in my 10 years of lockpicking that I've needed a double hump rake as opposed to a quint, quad, or a triple. So it would really round this set off, in my opinion. And I'm going to agree with Lock Noob here, is we had a higher hook here, so then you have a nice full set of four hooks to choose from, as well as 2 good rakes. You have your dimple rake, you have your tubular pick, and you have all your turning tools there. That would just complete the set for me. But again, I really like that it's expandable, and I think that's what they did here, is they built this to expand upon. Anyways, great case. It's really cool that they have the RFID card here. So if you're into RFID stuff at all, you can play with that. If not, it's still useful in the sense that you can use it to put your key up to take pictures of, to copy keys. So it's still useful in the sense of lockpicking related stuff. So in a way, it is still lockpicking related. So I know that's probably a mystery to a lot of people what that is and what's that's there for. So it can be used for multiple things. So yeah, I really like the set. It's a great little everyday carry set. It's definitely built to be expanded upon, and it's got a nice case to it. You can't beat this case. I really like this case. It is solid. Yeah, so that is my review on the Echelon set. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching.